Hello and welcome to the Born on This Day ASMR series. Today is February 17th, the day of the battler. We are reading from The Secret Language of Birthdays by Gary Goldschneider and Joost. My approach to this book is not so much to celebrate birthdays, but rather to look at each day as itself being born and offering energy that activates you in a different way each day. Each day you are a different person, each day you are in a different lifetime, which is absurd, of course. But a lifetime is ever present, and so in that sense, never present. Secret Language of Birthdays is a work of Personology. A day is a year, is a lifetime, is an age. Personology combines history, psychology, numerology, tarot, and astrology to form a personality guide for each person based on their day of birth. My original plan was to make a video each day following the grand life cycle. I meant to start on January 1st. As I've said before, it is now February, almost the end of February. But I am in the process of just learning to edit videos and to make videos, and so it's been relevant for me to just finish them regardless of what day it is, and I mostly just want to have fun. And today's your birthday. I wish you a happy birthday. And if you're watching this in the future, thank you for joining this channel. We have over 1 billion subscribers. February 17th is the day of the battler. The extremely sensitive individuals born on February 17th develop a tough armor around themselves early in life and go out to do battle with the world. Their backgrounds are rarely conducive to their particular form of expression, so they must fight for themselves from the word go. Some February 17th people are privileged, others disadvantaged, but from whatever strata they come, they are convinced of their ability to overcome obstacles in order to emerge as individuals in their own right. However, before they can battle with the world, those born on this day must battle with themselves to shape and mold themselves in a desired form. Because of criticism, expectations, or perhaps neglect, February 17th people come to realize very soon in their childhood that their sensitive natures will not survive unless they strengthen their defenses. In less evolved February 17th people, such defenses may manifest primarily as secretiveness, suspicion, and physical armoring. In more evolved February 17th people, they are likely to manifest as talents, extensive knowledge, or a physical presence. Unfortunately, those born on this day may come to insulate themselves from influences of any kind, good or bad, which try to get through to them. Their toughness belies their hypersensitive interior, which never really dies away except in some highly unusual cases. February 17th people can be touched by the arrows of love and the soft hand of affection, but the shot must be well aimed and the sentiment direct and sincere. Those born on this day do not wish to be hindered in their quest for self-fulfillment. So often they ignore what could be desirable human contact to avoid getting stuck or bogged down. The most highly advanced individuals born on this day allow their inner expressiveness and sensitivity to shine through, not only in their attitude, but also in their work. Thus they have a kind of transparency where they render their armor invisible. In fact, however, it is still very much in place. February 17th individuals are willing to go to bat for themselves, their family, and friends, even for strangers in need of help. They are extremely realistic and unusually possess an insight into the existing social order with all its inequalities and unfairnesses. Although they are combative when provoked, those born on this day are not overly aggressive and are slow to anger or upset. They have an impressive earthiness, calm, and physical presence which makes others sit up and take notice, while warning those with hostile intentions toward them to watch out. Those who mistake this calm for passivity are in for quite a shock. February 17th people are believers. With their heart and their cause, whatever it may be, most born on this day are spiritual warriors, whose goals are personal ones, and to whom self-development and personal expression are the most important values. Although objectively caught up with themselves, perhaps overly so, they can be highly inspirational and uplifting to those around them. Fast forward through this part, because I recorded this at 4 in the morning and was kind of spaced out, and it's good to just get the ball rolling. In their weakness, those born on this day may be armored, isolated, or even stuck. In their strength, those born on this day are indomitable, spiritual, and sensitive. Sensational may be a better term in regards to how sensitivity is really only the nativity of the senses. Numbers and planets. Those born on the 17th of the month are ruled by the number 8. 1 plus 7 equals 8. And by the planet Saturn. Saturn carries with it a feeling. And yes, you have to say carries twice because that was intentional. That was not a typo. Saturn does carries. And Saturn carries with it a feeling. A feeling of limitation and restriction, and a judgmental aspect as well. For February 17th people who are born on the Aquarius-Pisces cusp, Saturnian characteristics combined with those of Uranus, ruler of Aquarius, and Neptune, ruler of Pisces, to firm up the character. However, such a combination may indicate tendencies to secretiveness and suspicion, as well as eccentricity. The number 8 carries a conflict between the material and spiritual worlds. The 8, as it has fallen, lays on its side as the symbol of infinity. Those ruled by this number can be lonely and also prone to indulge in excess. The planets. Astrology traditionally speaks of 10 principal heavenly bodies, which can be viewed from the Earth. The 2 luminaries, Sun and Moon, 3 inner planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, and 5 outer planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. All of these, including Sun and Moon, are called planets, and each represents a different facet of the human personality. The names of the planets largely derive from classical Greek and Roman mythology, and their symbolism from the gods and goddesses which they represent. Every planet serves as an astrological indicator as well as a heavenly body. In this book, the rulership of both astrological signs and numbers by planets gives important clues to the personality of those born on each day. Saturn represents contraction as opposed to Jupiter's expansive nature. Traditionally, Saturn is represented as dark and cold, a fatal force indeed. However, the deeper underlying meaning of Saturn speaks of structure, of order, and of taking responsibility for one's actions. Capricorns and those ruled by the number 8 may be seen as Saturnian individuals who believe in law and strong personal values. The power of Saturn to rule is great, and its need to exert its authority strong. Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, and the number 4. This planet was discovered around the time of the French Revolution, and so symbolizes strongly individualistic and at times rebellious energies. The movements of the planet Uranus are erratic, and the quality of not doing things in a straight-line fashion and releasing spontaneous and impulsive energies are characteristic of Uranian people. The 84-year solar orbit of Uranus is taken in this book to be the ideal lifespan of humans in the Aquarian age, and we are in the age of Aquarius. Neptune was the king of the sea in classical mythology, and his trident is symbolized in the glyph of this watery planet Neptunian people can be profound, dreamy, diffuse, and difficult to pin down. Fantasy-rich, the minds of Pisces and those ruled by the number 7 are often attracted to highly imaginative objects. Neptunian energies invariably exert an irresistibly magnetic influence, able to dissolve away the barriers of a more rigid and absolute nature. Now I would like to share some mythology behind the names of Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, are respectively Cronus, Ouranos, and Poseidon. Saturn was originally one of the Numina, protector of the source and the seed, and his wife Alps was a harvest helper. In later days, he was said to be the same as the Greek Cronus and the father of Jupiter, the Roman Zeus. In this way, he became a personality, and a number of stories were told about him, in memory of the Golden Age, when he reigned in Italy. The great feast of the Saturnalia was held every year during the winter. The idea of it was that the Golden Age returned to the earth during the days it lasted. No war could be then declared. Slaves and masters ate at the same table. Executions were postponed. It was a season for giving presents. It kept alive in men's minds the idea of equality, of a time when all were on the same level. An interesting Saturday, of course, is also named after Saturn. So that feeling you get over the weekend of wanting to be in an orgy, it comes from the tradition of celebrating Saturn. And of course, the Saturnalia celebration sounds a lot like a winter holiday. Kronos, father of the gods, who gave his name to time, married his sister Rhea, goddess of earth. Now Kronos had become king of the gods by killing his father, Uranus, the first one. The dying Uranus had prophesied, saying, "You murder me now and steal my throne, but one of your own sons will dethrone you, for crime begets crime." So Kronos was very careful. One by one, he swallowed his children as they were born. First 3 daughters, Hestia, Demeter, and Hera. Then 2 sons, Hades and Poseidon. One by one he swallowed them all. Rhea was furious. She was determined that he should not eat her next child, and who she felt sure would be a son. When her time came, she crept down the slope of Olympus to a dark place to have her baby. It was a son, and she named him Zeus. She hung a golden cradle from the branches of an olive tree and put him to sleep there. Then she went back to the top of the mountain. She took a rock and wrapped it in swaddling clothes, held it to her breast, humming a lullaby. Kronos came snorting and bellowing out of his great bed, and snatched the bundle from her, and swallowed it, clothes and all. Rhea stole down the mountainside to the swinging golden cradle, and took her son down into the fields. She gave him to a shepherd family to raise, promising that their sheep would never be eaten by wolves. Here Zeus grew to be a beautiful young boy, and Kronos, his father, knew nothing about him. Finally, however, Rhea became lonely for him and brought him back to the court of the gods, introducing him to Kronos as the new cupbearer. Kronos was pleased because the boy was beautiful. One night, Rhea and Zeus prepared a special drink. They mixed mustard and salt with the nectar. Next morning, after a mighty swallow, Kronos vomited up first a stone, then Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon, Neptune, who, being gods, were still undigested, still alive. They thanked Zeus and immediately chose him to be their leader. Then a mighty battle raged. Saturn was joined by the Titans, his half-brothers, huge, twisted, dark creatures taller than trees, whom he kept pent up in the mountains until there was fighting to be done. They attacked the young gods furiously, but Zeus had allies too. He had gone to darker caverns, caves, under caves, deep in the mountainside formed by the first bubbles of the cooling earth. Here Kronos, thousands of creatures before, a short time in the life of a god, had pent up other monsters, the one-eyed Cyclops and the 100-handed ones. Zeus unshackled these ugly cousins and led them against the Titans. There was a great rushing and tumult in the skies. The people on earth heard mighty thunder and saw the mountains shatter. The earth quaked and tidal waves rolled as the gods fought. The Titans were as tall as trees, and old Kronos was a crafty leader. He attacked fiercely, driving the young gods before him. But Zeus had laid a trap. Halfway up the slope of Olympus, he whistled for his cousins, the 100-handed ones, who had been lying in ambush. They took up huge boulders, 100 each, and hurled them downhill at the Titans. The Titans thought the mountain itself was falling on them. They broke ranks and fled. The young goat god Pan was shouting with joy. Later he said that it was his shout that made the Titans flee. That is where we get the word panic. Now the young gods climbed to Olympus, took over the castle, and Zeus became their king. No one knows what happened to Kronos and his Titans, but sometimes mountains still explode in fire, and the earth still quakes, and no one knows exactly why. Tarot, the 17th card of the major arcana, is the star, which depicts a beautiful naked girl under the stars pouring refreshing water on the parched earth with one pitcher and reviving the stagnant water of a pond with another. She represents the glories of the earthly life, but also material enslavement to it. The stars above her are an eternal reminder of the presence of the spiritual world. The star may serve as a reminder to February 17th people, not only to strive for a bettering of their material circumstances, but also to realize what is best in them, what is best in their material circumstances. The major arcana. Far more significant are the 22 cards known as the major arcana, which cannot be associated with the modern playing card deck. They are in all probability a concentrated version of Hermetic philosophy, as later interpreted in the Kabbalah, Alchemy, magic, and astrology. They comprise a psychological study of man and his relationship to the world of the spirit and to the physical world. Their symbolism is the type of shorthand for metaphysics and mysticism. Here are truths of so subtle and divine an order that to express them baldly in human language would be a sacrilege. Only esoteric symbolism can reveal them to the inner spirit of the seeker. The major arcana are numbered from 0 to 21, each bearing a title which to some degree describes the card. Each card represents a distinct principle, law, power, element, and nature. The designs on the cards also illuminate the life of man, his joys and sorrows, hopes and despairs. They further indicate his search for the wisdom which enables him to control his passions and help in his transition to higher spheres where he enters into things of the spirit. Any book on the occult will be more readily comprehended, and any of these 22 cards of the major arcana can be the foundation for a great deal of meditation and inner enlightenment. In addition to this, be convinced that there is some power present when the cards are read that directs their distribution, an extra physical power, now demonstrated in our universities as psychokinetic effect, cooperates with the unconscious muscular activities of the person using the deck and tends to affect the cards as they are shuffled and cut so that when dealt they fall into positions that have significance in relation to the subject of the reading. The Fool, card number 0, can in a sense be compared to the Joker in the modern deck of cards, in that it has no assigned place in the deck, but stands more or less alone. Some writers in the tarot, in order to carry out their own interpretation, place the Fool between the 20th and 21st cards, but there is no concrete evidence that this card belongs in that position, or for that matter, as the first card of the major arcana. Rather, this is a separate card, a third part of the deck, the sum total of all. The Fool is the sum total of all. The keys. The star. Key 17, the star. An 8-pointed star signifying radiant cosmic energy, and surrounded by 7 smaller stars, radiates solar energy on the young girl, kneeling on the land, her right foot upon the water. She pours the waters of life impartially from 2 ewers into the pool of universal consciousness and onto earth, which represents matter. The bird is the soul resting in the tree of life. The maiden is eternal youth and beauty. She is Mother Nature and is identified with the Empress and the High Priestess, as well as with the woman in key number 8 who tames the lion. The card represents the waters of life flowing freely and perpetually, renewing creation. Divinatory meaning: hope, courage, inspiration. No destruction is final. Unselfish aid will be given. Good health, spiritual love. Reversed: stubbornness, pessimism, doubt. Tarot cards have been used for centuries to predict the future, shed light on the past, and reveal mysterious patterns of character and destiny. Winter. Winter's zodiac position is 0 degree Capricorn to 0 degree Aries. It is the 4th quadrant of the grand life cycle. It is the equivalent to the human ages 63 to age 84. The cusp concepts of winter are prophecy, mystery, imagination, and sensitivity. The signs are Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. We are currently in Aquarius. The rulers of winter are Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. The symbols are the goat, the water bearer, and the fish. The elements of winter are earth, air, and water. The mottos of winter are I master, I universalize, I believe. The dominant faculty of winter is thought. The winter solstice usually occurs on December 21st in the northern hemisphere. This date marks the beginning of winter in the northern hemisphere, but in the southern hemisphere, winter begins around June 21st. At this time of stillness, nights are longer and days shorter than any other time in the year. As winter advances through the bitter days and onto the hint of spring, nights grow shorter and the days longer. Winter is the fourth and last quarter, or 90-degree segment of the yearly cycle. This season extends from the winter solstice to the spring equinox. Winter is traditionally the period at which the water in ponds and rivers freezes. Snow falls, the sounds of nature are muted, and the land lies sleeping under a white blanket. Trees stretch their bare arms into a gray sky only lit a few hours a day by a low rising sun. Although much of nature seems dead, this is only a surface view. Deep within the earth, powerful forces are engaged in a metamorphosis, the results of which will be evident to the eye in spring. Nothing really dies, but this is transformed into another state. There is a feeling of waiting and of expectation. Life has moved inside and underground. Warmth is sought in caves and in homes from bitter howling winds. Fire keeps humans warm, and foods that have been stored for the winter are eaten by both people and animals. The signs and life periods. Winter comprises 3 astrological signs: the cardinal earth sign, Capricorn, the fixed air sign, Aquarius, and the mutable water sign, Pisces. These 3 signs can be likened in human terms to the life of the individual aged 63 to 84. The spiritual period of human development from late middle age to death evidences many of the same aspects of stillness, interiorization of experience, and a quieting of instinctual demands that characterize nature's winter. This 4th quadrant of the grand life cycle is governed by the faculty of thought and can be seen as a waxing period, which manifests subjectively and has a conscious orientation. Although subjective, underground interior activity has completely replaced outward growth in both nature and the human being, objective changes are on the way. In the case of humans, consciousness may have become less concerned with the externals and more with the worlds of thought, religion, philosophy, spirituality, and other universal concerns. Astrologically, this is related to the fact that signs Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces are ruled by the heavenly bodies of Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, which are all heavy, outer planets. These bodies are big and far from the Earth, taking approximately 28, 84, and 165 years, respectively, to make their way around the zodiac. So what takes us 1 year? It takes Saturn 28 years. What takes us 1 year? It takes Uranus 84 years. What takes us 1 year? It takes Neptune 165 years. If I understand that correctly, the outlook of the adult at this time is more universal. Such concerns as competing in the marketplace, raising a family, reproducing, building a powerful exterior, and striving to make a mark in the world of society are generally diminishing and even completely absent now. The elder must prepare psychologically for the coming of the end of a life cycle. The wintertime personality. Generally speaking, wintertime people are more concerned with the larger picture. They can be dominant types who rule their space with assurance, but often also display a greater degree of flexibility, sensitivity, acceptance, and spirituality than those born at other times of the year. Although those born in the winter are often quiet types, many manifest a great excitement through their thoughts, ideals, and work. They are particularly distinguished by an active imagination and fantasy life. The most successful of wintertime people can objectify these visions and perhaps make them a source of creativity rather than be victimized by them. An allegiance of wintertime people is not so much to society or to personal considerations as to the world of ideas. Wintertime people are less concerned with the state of the world as it is now and more with how it could and should be. A real reforming spirit can show itself in this personality, and an interest in matters concerning political and economic justice is very common. Advice: keep yourself open to the outside world. At least let others look in, even if the entrance is denied. Use your sensitivity to teach you the way to the spiritual life. Beware of being too secretive or suspicious. Meditation, that which offers no resistance, can be harder to push. There's some days where it takes me longer to actually read each segment than it does to record the audio, and so I catch myself just kind of still reading even though I've finished reading myself. And it's kind of funny, but hopefully it's just a relaxing atmosphere. And this is the end of today's episode. I appreciate you sticking with me. It's been fun making these videos, and I'm gonna keep going. See you tomorrow. Bye.